Shalom, shalom. That's Allah to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. It's your brother Kadam Allah. Come back with an edifying video going into the mighty warriors of Israel, right? Because we come from a fighting bloodline, you understand? Right? We come from warriors like Samson, David, right? Gideon, and so on and so forth, right? So let me get this precept. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. See, that's the spirit. Isaiah chapter 30. Let's start at verse 20. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, and verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Right? So the Lord did give us the bread of adversity in the transatlantic slave trade, right? In captivity in America for years, even unto this day. But later on in the prophecy that Isaiah is talking about, we're going to have teachers. You're going to see these people. That's why you see us out in the highways and byways, teaching the nation, giving edification to Israel. You understand? Verse 21. And thine ear shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. And that's us. I'm telling you, we're not black. We're not African American. We're not Negroes. We're not colored. Right? This is the way. We're Israel. So to keep the commandments. And you're going to hear that word. And that's Israel through the hand of the prophets coming back and teaching our people. So we got to teach our people. Like it also says in John 21, verse 15. Let me grab that real fast. How can this get fulfilled if you never given out no edification? John chapter 21. All right, let's see what Yahushua told Peter. It's the book of John, chapter 21, and verse 15. So when they had dined, Yahushua saith unto Simeon, right, Simeon or Simon, Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He said unto him, yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He said unto him, feed my lambs. Right? And who is the lambs? That's Israel. That's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and verse 6. Right? Verse 16. He said to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He said unto him, yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He said unto him, feed my sheep. So in order to love Yahushua, you got to feed the sheep, the flock, Israel. Verse 17, he said unto him the third time, and we know 3 in the Bible is for emphasis as well. Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, lovest thou me? And he said unto them, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahushua said unto him, feed my sheep. Right? So that's plain. You're supposed to feed the sheep. Right? So let's kick it off. Let's go into the wars. Right? The warriors and the mighty men and Israel and Simon. Right? So first thing first, we have to understand that the Most High God is dealing with war. Okay, the Most High, Yahweh is not a woman. You understand? Yahweh is not a man, right? He's like, we are likened unto him. That's why we are men. But he has a masculine figure. You understand? That's why we call him right here. In the book of Exodus, chapter 15, and verse 3. The Lord, right? Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name, right? So the Most High is a man of war. He deals with war, man, right? He puts the spirit of war on the earth. And we know that's true because let's go to the book of Sirach. Gotta get that in the KJV. Go to the book of Sirach, chapter Salakia. Book of Sirach. $33. Salakia. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 33, and verse 14. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So, all in all, throughout the earth and throughout time, God has put two spirits on earth, right? You got Yahweh Shai, right, in the right hand of angels, and then you have Satan in his left hand angels. Good, evil, life, death, the children of God and the children of Satan. So you have these two things warring. War is just not always with weapons of carnal warfare, right? And with swords and bows and arrows. Now you got spiritual warfare, you got mental warfare, you even got emotional warfare. You understand? So God is dealing with war, right? He set good against evil, right? That's conflict. Verse 15. So look upon all the works of the Most High. There are two and two, one against another. Right? So it's two things that's fighting against each other, good and evil. That's war, man. We understand that that's war. All right, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6. All right. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, and verse 4. And this is a commandment. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Right? And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. Right. So and the reason I bring that precept out is you can't say you love the Lord, but then when you hear war and bloodshed, you kind of turn to the pacifist. You don't want to really hear about that. You don't want to really go into that. But the Lord said you got to love him with all your heart, with all your soul, all your might. How can you do that if you see certain things in the Bible and you turn your eye to it? You don't really want to see that. You don't really want to deal with that. These are the words of God, man. So you got to completely eat this whole world, like it says in Ezekiel, right? Eat that little book, like it says in Revelations, like John did, man. The whole Bible. You can't just kind of read something and kind of don't like it, right? That's not loving the Lord with your whole heart and with your soul and your mind. Let me get this other precept. Let's go to the book of Job. All right. It's the book of Job, chapter 8, and verse 8. It's the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. So the scriptures tell us to require, right? And inquire, Salakia, the former age, man, in the search of your forefathers, man. So we're supposed to look at our forefathers. We're supposed to look at our warriors. We're supposed to look at our women and see what they did at that time, man. Right? We're supposed to go back and research that, right? Why? Verse 9. For we are but of yesterday and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee and tell thee and utter words out of their heart? Right. And we get taught by seeing these scriptures, man. We see how to move in a military formation, right? How Esau gets crafty in war, and how the Canaanites got crafty during war and the different tactics they use. We read about Maccabees. We see the different words and exhortation he gave the people. You understand? So we learn from watching and reading and studying this Bible, right? Let me get one quick other precept. Deuteronomy chapter 32. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will shew thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. So we're supposed to remember the days of old and look in the days of many generations, right? And talk. And we can't physically talk to David. We can't physically talk to these different men, but we have to read it and remember the days of old and see what happened and how we can apply that wisdom to our life, right? Real quick. And also one other point, our forefathers was men, right? It wasn't little boys. These are mighty men, mighty warriors of Israel. Right? Let me get some of the First Kings. It's the book of First Kings, chapter 2. This shows you what's a man, right? First Kings 2 and 1. Now the days of David, right, the wad, drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and shew thyself a man. Right? Be strong. Show yourself a man. How? Well, how do you do that? Verse 3. And keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses. So to be a man, you got to keep the commandments, man. You can't follow the Lord, but then you following sin at the same time. Matthew 6, verse 24 say, no man can serve two masters, right? So to be a true man, right, you have to submit to Yahweh Ba'ashem and Yahweh Shah. You understand? That's what makes you a man. If you're not keeping the commandments of God and not following in the ways of Yahweh Shah, you are still a boy, right? You are still a boy in your mental mindset and spirit, right? Let's keep reading. That thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whatsoever thou turnest thyself. So to prosper in life and whatever we do, we got to keep the commandments of God, man. There's no way around this. You're going to keep seeing the Lord say, keep the commandments. He's going to keep telling you that. We're going to keep pulling in scriptures. We're going to keep showing you the truth that God says to keep the commandments, man. There's no way around it. Let me get one more other precept. Let's go to the book of First Maccabees, right? Showing that a man, right, is one who keeps the commandments, right? First Maccabees 2. Right? It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 64. Wherefore, you, my sons, be valiant and shew yourselves men. How do you show yourself a man? Right? In the behalf of the law, for by it shall you obtain glory. So to be a man, you have to keep the commandments. And you get glory from keeping the commandments of the Most High, from following Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Let's go down to verse 67. Take also unto you all those that observe the law and avenge ye the wrong of your people. So you're supposed to be around it like men that observe the law, keep the commandments of the Most High, recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them and was gathered to our fathers. Right? Now we know Mattathias has died, you understand? But if he was here, he will only be happy with men that's keeping the commandments of the Most High. We want to make Mattathias proud on the carnal level, man. We want to make David proud on the carnal level, man. Because we are the sons of these men, right? So now let's get into it. So war, right? Who went to war in the Torah? So go to the book of Numbers, right? Chapter 1. Can any man go to war? Can it just be any age? What is it? What is it about? How do we do that? Let's go to Numbers chapter 1. It's the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 2. Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families by the house of their fathers with the numbers of their names, every male by their poll, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. So in order to go to war, right, you had to go to war with 20-year-old, you had to be 20 years old and up, right? We wasn't going to war with damn 13-year-old boys, man. Just anybody that can pick up a sword. We trained them. They got taught and get built up to go to war. But you couldn't go to war until you was 20 years old, right? Verse 4. And with you, there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers, right? So you got every tribe, you have a prince over that tribe. Prince over Reuben, prince over Simeon, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. Their names them all right here, right? So we're going to go down some. We're going to go down a lot. Got the Danites in there, right? Verse 45. It's the book of Numbers, the 1 verse 45. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Even all they that were numbered were 600,000 and 3,000 and 550. But the Levites, after the tribe of their fathers, were not numbered among them. Right? So all the other tribes went to war except for the priests, the Levites. Why? Verse 48. For the Lord had spoken unto Moses, saying, only thou shalt not number the tribe of Levi, neither take the sum of them among the children of Israel. But thou shalt appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of testimony, and over all the vessels thereof, and over all the things that belong to it. They shall bear the tabernacle and all the vessels thereof, and they shall minister unto it, and shall encamp round about the tabernacle. Right? So the Levites didn't go to war. They sat around the tabernacle. They was doing offerings, right? Protecting the Ark of the Covenant, right? And things of that sort. Verse 51. And when the tabernacle set forward, The Levite shall take it, be pitched. The Levite shall set it up, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. Anybody couldn't just come to the tabernacle. Anybody couldn't just come to the door, right, of the tabernacle, right? You get put to death for that, man. That's why the priest. Let me get this picture. Get this picture real quick. That's why the priests were surrounded themselves around the tabernacle. I want to get this picture. All right. All right. So yeah, I'm scrolling. All right. So you can zoom in on this. Can't really zoom in, but if you can see, you see the sons of Kohath, right? The sons of Gershon, Merari, and Moses and Aaron and the priests. They all was around, right? The tabernacle. And then you had the other tribes around. So you couldn't just come to the tabernacle. You get put to death for that, man. You get destroyed. So the Levites, the priests, were on a high level that the Lord didn't even have them go to war. They sat there and ministered unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, right? Verse 52. And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, every man by his own camp, and every man by his own standard throughout their hosts. But the Levites shall pitch round about the tabernacle of testimony, that there be no wrath upon the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall keep charge of the tabernacle of testimony. So the priests sat around there, and from 20 years old and upward, all these men of each tribe that was able to go to war, they went to war, and each one of the tribes, they had a prince over them. So that's how we have war order or conduct in the it's like in the wilderness. All right, so let's get to the other precept. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Because there's laws on war. You don't just wake up and grab a Glock 15 and a shotgun and start shooting at Jake, man. That's not war, man. That's random low down nigga hood crimes. Right? That's not war. That's not how we conduct the war as a people. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, and verse 1. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for Yahweh, right, thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Right, so the Most High is with you, warriors, man. The Most High is with the warriors. Verse 2. And it shall be when you are coming to the battle that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and doeth not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. Right? You shouldn't be scared of these damn nations just because they have a lot more chariots and more men and more bowmen, right? For Yahweh your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. And the officer shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that have built a new house and have not dedicated it? Let him go turn to house, lest he die in battle, and another new house. You couldn't just go to war, man. You had to decorate and dedicate your house before you went to war, man. That's a law. Verse 6. What man is he that have planted a vineyard and have not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return into his house, lest he die in the battle, and other man eat of it. Right? So you just got this field, right? You've been planting, you've been grinding for months and months, right? And you never got to eat of that fruit, right? We shouldn't go to war, man. You shouldn't go to war if you haven't ate of your own vineyard. That's what the Lord said, man. So eat of it first and then go to war. Verse 7. What man is there that have betrothed a wife, meaning betrothed, meaning promised to, you understand, and have not taken her, right? Because you can be promised, you got the courting stage. It's like you got the proving stage, the courting stage, betrothed stage, right? Promise stage, and so on and so forth. But he haven't married or laid down with that woman yet, you understand, right? So you should go marry your wife before you go to war, right? Lest another man just go and take your woman, right? Not take her, but marry her, you understand? So go down to verse 8. And the officer shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is that is fearful and faint-hearted. Let him go and return into his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. Right, and that's an old saying. A poisonous apple ruin a whole bunch, or something like that, man. A bad apple ruin a whole bunch, right? Because imagine you going to war with the mighty men, with David and damn Abner start talking. Oh, man, I don't know about this, Joab. What we gonna do? I mean, sons of Moab. It's called the city of waters. Damn, in the city of waters. I don't know if we can take that. They're not Joab kind of thinking. Well, there is a lot of people, man. All right, is our sword sharp enough? Not his damn heart is waxing worse because of one weak, effeminate, soft male, man. So you can't go to war with the faint-hearted, man. You got to take your ass home. We're not going to war with scary, frightened men. This not Babylon, man. We're not dealing with the Transformers and going to war with the these Eves that want to be men. We're not going to war with them, man. Right? We're not going to war with that spirit of scaredness. You gotta go home, right? Lest other men, and now they start getting scared, and you all get slew because you're afraid. Well, we could have took them, man. Do you not know that you serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man? Do you not know that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has flooded the whole earth, right? Do you not know that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua put the spirit on different men to destroy hundreds of thousands of men, but only 3,000 men? Right? You don't know that. So we can't have that spirit of timidness and afraidness around the camp, man. He got to get the hell out of here, man. I don't want to go to war with no man. I'm not about to get ready to go to war in Jacob's trouble and the brother snatching my damn shirt talking about it's too many robots. It's too many people. Man. You gotta get the hell away from me, man. I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not doing that. Right? Verse 9. And it shall be when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. Right? So you have order. Right? So like you have order. You have kings, right? Officers, right? Captains, and so on and so forth. Verse 10. Right? So we had order before we went to war. Verse 10. When thou comest nigh to a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. Right? So before you go to fight against the city, right, you can tell them we about to go to war with y'all. Y'all can, be in peace, or y'all can have the sword. Verse 11. And it shall be, if it make thee aware, if it make the answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. So you go to war with a city, right? And they want to be in peace and submit. Right, that's cool. You have to pay tribute, man. And that's how we know we still in captivity. We pay tribute. We pay taxes. Right? You got some people who haven't still got their taxes to this day, man. Right? Still haven't got their taxes at all. Esau, man, he's crafty. Verse 12. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then shalt thou besiege it. Right? So if it don't want to have peace, you got to put them to flight. Verse 13. When the Lord thy God have delivered it into thine hand, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the woman and the little ones and the cattle and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take unto thyself, and thou shalt eat the spoil of thy enemies, which the Lord thy God hath given you. Right? So you go to war and they want to fight back. You got to slay and utterly destroy every single man, every single male. But you say the women and the little children, they can be servants, right? And the cattle, all that is for us, right? Verse 15. Thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations. Who is these nations? Deuteronomy was written during the time of Moses, right? So we know this is talking about the land of Canaan, right? This is talking about the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, the Perizzites, and so on and so forth. Verse 16. But of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doeth give thee for inheritance, right, which is Israel, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, but thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites and the Amorites and the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as Yahweh thy God hath commanded thee. Right, so we utterly destroy the women, the children, the little children, the men, the cattle, everything that breathes is supposed to get put to death, right, at that time. So you couldn't be fearful in them days. How am I going to go to war with you and you scared? And the Lord said to utterly destroy all that. The Lord said in Jeremiah chapter 50, and I think verse 20, right? Cursed be he who hold back his sword from bloodshed. You can't kind of be holding back your sword, man. How can the Lord use you when the second wilderness is going to be putting the nations to flight, putting them to death, right? And you kind of look at the little Edomite baby, you kind of scared. Kind of, why he hasn't done no sin. Whoa, he hasn't done no sin. Why are we putting him to death? Look at him. What if we teach him the righteous way? And he teach him no, you're not teaching the Edomite baby the righteous way. Right? The Lord said the little one got to be dashed against the stone, man. So that's plain. Verse 18. Why? That they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. So should ye sin against the Lord your God. And Israel went off. We didn't completely, utterly destroy all these nations. That's why we fell into idolatry and so on and so forth in the fall of Yasha. Verse 19. When thou shalt besiege a city a long time and making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them. For thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life to employ them in the siege. Right? So when you go to war, you don't just go down and start burning down each damn tree. Right? If the tree has fruit and berries and things you can eat upon it, right? You're not supposed to cut it down because when you're going to siege and war, you want to have that for food. Verse 20. Only the trees which thou knowest that be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down, and thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee until it be subdued. Right? Only the trees that don't have that's not for meat, right? So now we got the laws, right? We got the laws, 20 years old and upward, all the tribes, except for Levi, right? You can't be fearful, and so on and so forth, right? So now let's look at, before we get to Simon and Maccabees and things of that sort, let's look at our fathers, man. Let's look at the fathers, right? Let me get this in Sirach real quick. The Lord told us, and we see, and we praised our forefathers, man. Now we don't praise them more than Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We're not bowing down and worshiping man and praying to damn Judah Maccabees. If a brother start praying to Judah Maccabees, I might smite him. Might jab him, man. What are you doing praying to Judah Maccabees, man? That's madness, right? That's idolatry, right? So the Lord told us, and we see right here in verse Sirach 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning. So the Most High Yahweh gets the glory by these men, right? When you read about Judah Maccabees, you're not saying, damn, Judah did all that himself. No, we see Judah praying, right? We see Judah following the Most High. We see him asking the Lord for counsel, right? We see him, the Lord sending down angels for him to fight with, right? We see all that, man. Yahweh Ba'ashim gets that glory for turning a small army and allowing them to overthrow a big Greek, wicked nation, right? They had elephants, right? They had thousands of horsemen and chariots, and Judah Maccabees and Simon and Jonathan and John and so on and so forth. We put them to flight, man. Verse 3. Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies. Right? So they had power, man. Right? They had good and wise counsel. You had men that declared prophecies. You had leaders, wise, eloquent men. So let's look at our forefathers, right? Let's go to the book. I kind of Salaki, I want to stay in Sirach. So one in Sirach, and go into I'm gonna get Deuteronomy first. It's the book of Deuteronomy, right? Chapter 34. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 34, and verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural face abated. Force, like abated. So Moses was 120 years old, but he had that same strength, that same force. He wasn't even blind, man. He could still see, man. Hey, Moses could still see better than Israel right now, man. 120 years old. That's mighty. That strength he had, that endurance he had, it stayed with him right the whole way. Right? So let's read something else. Who else had that power? Who else had strength like that? Let's go to the book of Joshua. Let's go to the book of Joshua, chapter 14. And let's start at verse 11. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 14. 14. Fuck you. 14 at verse 11. As yet I am strong this day, as I was in the day that Moses sent me, as my strength was then, even so is my strength now. For war, both to go out and to come in. Right. So Joshua had that strength, right? The same age then, man. Joshua the 14th chapter, man. At the end of the conquest, right? So like at the end of all that conquest, right? Now we know when we read, let's go to that's Joshua 13. It's the book. It's like I don't want that. We know Joshua killed 31 kings. I want to find the precept though. Maybe that's 15. No, it's 12. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 12, verse 24. The king of Tizarah won all the kings in 31. Joshua had 31 kings, man. 31 so-called bodies, man. It's catching bodies, man. Jericho, so-called Jerusalem at that time, right? Jerusalem now, but before it was called something else. Hebron, right? Lachish, Eglon, all these kings, he was putting their ass to death, putting them to flight, man. Let's see the form. Let's go look at the conquest of Joshua, man. Get a good picture. Good. Oh, there we go. Damn, I don't like how that. Hey, Esau, something your Google sucks, man. Sometimes your Google. I'm just. Can I do it this way? Yeah, something like that. All right. Share this tab. This damn Google sucks. Oh, right. It's lucky. Right. So look at all these different. Look at the conquest of Joshua. Right. Got him going Bathsheba. Right. Hebron. Right. Gaza getting put to flight. Ashkelon, Ashdod, man. Look at this, man. Look at how he conquered this whole land. King, 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 king. All getting put to flight by Joshua, man. This is mighty, man. It's our forefathers. They took down 31 kings, man. And in order to take down the king, that means you got to take down the city, the land, all of that, man. And remember, they utterly slew them, all of them. You understand? Everything that breathed, right? So this is our forefathers, man. He had strength until his end, and he slew 31 kings, man. It's mighty, right? Got a lot of brothers with the name Joshua, man. Do you really know what Joshua was about, man? Joshua was about war. He was putting men to flight, right? He was destroying all the Canaanites, man. You got these Edomites. Oh, Joshua, his name Joshua. Joshua. Well, you don't know nothing about Joshua, right? You don't know what Joshua did. You haven't even read the book of Joshua and your name Joshua. It's madness, man. Let's get to Joshua 8. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 8, and verse 18. And it shall be when ye have taken the city, that ye shall set the city on fire, according to the commandment of the Lord, ye shall do, right? Salakia. See, I have commanded you. So Joshua put the cities on fire, but I want to get 18. And the Lord said unto Joshua, stretch out thy spear, right? The spear that is in thy hand towards I, for I will give it into thine hand. And Joshua stretched out the spear that he had in his hand toward the city. So Joshua fought with a spear, man. Okay. I gotta get the visuals for Israel, right? Zoom on. Let me see what Esau say, right? Let me see what Esau say. So, yeah, this That's yeah, it's madness. Right. I searched up Joshua's spear. You got wow, that guy. Right. Got this guy, man. Wow. You got the Edomite version. Right. No, I don't like that. Yeah, nobody want to see you nations. Right. So Joshua fought with a spirit, man. Something like this. Right. Something like that, man. We don't know, what exactly spirit did he have, man, but he had a spirit, right? And he's putting these nations to flight with a spirit. Verse 19. And the ambush arose quickly out of their place, and they ran as soon as they had stretched out his hand. And they entered into the city and took it and hasted and set the city on fire. And when the man of Ai looked upon them, they saw Shalakia. And behold, the smoke of the city ascended up to heaven, and they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled to the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers, man. So we was beating their ass, man. In so many words, man. They couldn't go this way or that way. It was just finished, right? Just cooked. Verse 21. And when Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city and that the smoke of the city ascended, then they turned again and slew the men of Ai. Verse 22. And the other issue out of the city against them, so they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them. So they let none of them remain or escape. Right? They got surrounded. Verse 23. And the king of Ai they took alive and brought him to Joshua. And it came to pass when Israel had made an end of slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness, wherein they chased them, and when they were fallen on the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all the Israelites returned unto Ai and smote it with the edge of the sword, man. Nah, let's go down to verse 28. And Joshua burnt Ai and made it a heat forever, even a desolation unto this day, right? So even to that day it describes, right? It was still a desolation. Verse 29. And the king of Ai, he hanged on a tree until even to Ai. And as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree and cast it at the entering of the gate of the city and raise thereon a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day. Right, so he hanged his ass on a tree, man. What else did he do? Right? I don't want to go to where it say somewhere else. It say he put his head right on the top of the thing. But I could be mistaken. So nevertheless, man, we got Joshua going to war, killing the king's eye, 31 bodies, right? He's putting in work, man. Right? And I want to get to other precepts in Iraq. Who else was mighty at war? All right, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter Salakia, chapter 44. Salakia, not 44. Chapter 46. 46. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 46, and verse 9. The Lord gave strength also unto Caleb, which remained with him unto his old age, so that he entered upon the high places of the land, and his seed obtained it for inheritance. All right, so the Lord gave his strength to Caleb, man, which remained with him until his old age. Right? You got plenty of our forefathers, man. Right? Jake nowadays they get weak at 50, 60, man. 68 bones, arthritis, and back, and everything is hurting. Right? But Moses, Caleb, Joshua, man, they had strength right until they died, man. That's mighty, man. It says Moses could see. You know what I'm saying? His eyes wasn't dim. We know Isaac's eyes was dim when he was on the way. You know what I mean? So that's deep, man. Our forefathers was in pushovers, man. So let's go into the book of Judges. Let's go into all the mighty men, as many as I can. All right. Let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 7. It's like I'm gonna get 3 first. Joshua chapter, it's like Judges chapter 3. It's the book of Judges chapter 3 and verse. So thing, I'm gonna just read 31. And after him, Shagmar, the son of Anath, which slew of the Philistines 600 men with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. So you got a man that slew 600 men with an ox goad, right? We got what was the ox goad like? Let's look this up. Wow. Where the ox go, man? Could y'all slay? Can an Edomite slay 600 men with his ox goad? No. Right, no. 600 men. It's deep, man. So Israel get down. With any weapons, Israel get down. Right? 600 men with one ox goad. And that's one man, man. Who knows that whole story and how it came to pass? And it's probably more written and more into it that we just don't have right now. You know what I mean? 600 men with, I mean, hey man, y'all man. This the top nation, man. Let's go to the book of Judges, right? Chapter 7. It's the book of Judges, chapter 7. And I'm gonna start at 25. And they took two princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midan, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. Right, so Gideon was getting down, man. He was killing a lot of these damn princes of the Midianites. You understand? You got mighty men like Gideon, man. Right, let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 8. We know Gideon with 300 men slew a great number. Let's go to the book of Slakia 7 and I jumped the gun. Verse 15. It's all good through the spirit. Book of Judges, chapter 7. I'm gonna start at verse 15. And it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel and said, Arise, for Yahweh have delivered your hand the host of Midian, right? And he divided the 300 men, right? So it's 300 men. Salakia. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in each man's hand with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. And he said unto them, Look on me and do up likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do, right? Do as I do, right? When we coming against the Midianites. Verse 18, when I blow the trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of Yahweh and of Gideon, right? So you got man blowing the trumpets, right? 300 men, 100 in peace and peace and peace, with trumpets blowing, with lamps and swords in their hand, right? Saying the sword of Yahweh and the sword of Gideon, man. Now, it shows how many men they slew in the next chapter. Verse 10. It's the book of Judges, chapter 8, and verse 10. And Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in tents on the east of Nobah and Igobah, and smote the whole host. It's like it, verse 10. I always jump the gun. Judges 8 and 10. Now Zabah and Zamuna were in Kakor, and their hosts with them, about 15,000 men. All that were left of all the hosts of the children of the east, for there fell 120,000 men that drew the sword. So Gideon, right? had 300 men and they slew 120,000. Right? And the reason this is written, like it says in Romans chapter 15, verse 4, if I'm not mistaken, right? This was written for our learning, man. This was written so when we go to war, and probably Judah Maccabees, and they read this when they went to war, that we can do a lot with little, man. We can do a lot with little. 300 men versus 120,000 men. Let's Google 120,000 people. This is 120,000 people. Look, you got to kind of see the visuals on this thing, man. Look at that, right? A damn stadium, right? And now let's look up 300 people. Come on now. That's all of them. This is all we got. Right? 300 people. That's all we got. Just putting them to flight. See that one? Oh, okay. Thought that was down. Thought that was something else, man. So look at that small number versus that stadium. Right, we're on two different levels, man. Right, so and it blew their trumpets, and they said the sword of Yahweh and the sword of Gideon, man. Right, so that's deep. That's deep, man. Our forefathers is just destroying and killing the Midianites, right? So now let's get to who we, let's get to who we need to get to, right? I want to get this other account too in Joshua the 10th chapter. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 10, and verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord, see that? I don't know. It's kind of skipping page, man. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Joshua 10 and verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Elion. Right? He told the sun to stop, stand still, be bound there, stay right there. And the sun stood still, man. And the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hasted not to go down about a whole day. Right? So the sun stood still, man. And the moon listened, right, to Joshua, man. So our forefathers were stopping the sun and moon so they can keep putting these damn nations to flight. Verse 14. And there was no day like that before it or after it that the Lord hearkened to the voice of a man. For Yahweh fought for Israel. And you know how mighty and righteous and upright and clean hands and clean hearted you got to be for the Lord to listen to you, have you listen to this man, for him to stop the sun and the moon, man. He stopped time, man. You got Israel, they time stoppers, man. Right? So he stopped time, man, and kept putting the nations to flight. What else we read about? Salakia. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. Salakia, the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 30. It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 30, and verse 16. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines, out of the land of Judah. And David smote them from twilight even until the evening of the next day. And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. Right, so they was fighting from twilight even into the evening of the next day, man. It's almost 24 hours, man. Just beating, whipping, smacking and beating them, man, knocking them out, man. Just tearing them up, man. Bows, got the damn bows, right? You got the damn swords and spears and horses and the shields and the armor and the buckler, man. And David recovered all that the Amalekites took and had carried away. And David rescued his 2 wives, man. Right, so he recovered everything back. Right, so our forefathers was fighting from twilight to the next day. He's telling the sun and moon to stop. Right, destroying 600 men, one man with ox gold. Right, 300 men slaying 120,000 men. It's all through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. So David was like this mighty Gideon, Mattathias, right? Joshua, right? Who else in here, man? So let's go to. We can talk all day about the mighty. We can talk about Joshua. And real quick, let me get this in 2 Samuel, chapter. It's like 23 and verse 1. So you gotta understand, David was on a high level, man. The what, man? Now I want to get Salakia. I want to kind of go to the KJV, right? Go to the regular KJV. Salakia. This is 1 Samuel. All right, start verse 8. The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 23, verse 8. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had. The Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The same was Endino the Enzite. He lifted up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. So you got our mighty man slaying 800 men with a spear, man, at one time. Right? Adino the Enzite. And these are the men that was just rolling with David, man. Right? They're not even mentioning Joab. They're not even mentioning it. They just mention Dino. There's plenty of these mighty men. Verse 9. And after him was Eleazar, the son of Dodo, the Ahoite, one of the 3 mighty men with David, when they defied the Philistines that they were gathered together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away. He arose and smote the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand clave unto the sword. And the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to spoil. So he was just smiting the Philistines till his hands got weird. He just got tired, man. His hands just clave the sword, man. He got spears, sword. They say Jonathan had a bow. Right, so these are the weapons that we use. Verse 11. And after him was Shammah, the son of Agee, the Harite. And the Philistines were gathered together into a troop, where a piece of the ground was full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he stood in the midst of the ground and defended it and slew the Philistines. And Yahweh wrought a great victory. And 3 of the 30 in chief went down and came to David in the time of the harvest to the cave of Adullam, and the troop of the Philistines pitched tent in the valley of Rephaim. So you had these different mighty men, man. They all fought with David, right? Putting them to flight, putting them down, man. So let's go to 1611. So 1611. Let's go to First Maccabees, right? So I can't. It's the book of First Maccabees. All right. Let's just start at 3. Let's start at 2. Let's go first Maccabees chapter 2. Start at 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joreb from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. So the Maccabean brothers, they was all priests, they was all Levites. So like it had 5 sons, right? Let's go down to verse 17. All right, this is the Mattathias, their father. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment. And what's the king's commandment? To stop keeping the laws of God. Everybody being one nation, one people. And who does that sound like? Babylon. Like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thine house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver, gold, and many rewards. Right? So he's trying to speak with deceit, trying to help them go off, man. Just look like you're going off. Just look like you're wicked, right? Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from his religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we shall forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. Right? So Moses, like not Moses, Mattathias said, to hell with that, man. We're not doing that. We're not moving in that spirit. We're going to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. We're never following after you Greeks and you Babylonians, you Americans, Romans, so on and so forth. Right? Verse 23. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which is at Modin, according to the king's commandment. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew upon him the altar. So he slew that man upon the altar, man. He slew this man, committed idolatry, worshiping damn probably Zeus, Diana, all right, one of these gods. Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner who compelled man to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously with the law of God, like as Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Salom. Right? So we understand Mattathias was slaying men, destroying men. We can read all day about Mattathias. But he told them to come out to the city and the wealth in the rocks, right? And the mountains and the wilderness and so on and so forth. And they try to slam on the Sabbath day, but they still put them to flight, man. Right? Because they knew we kept the commandments. So they tried to say, we're going to come on the Sabbath day, right? And have crafty counsel. So now let's go down. Right? Yeah, that man gets circumcised, great exhortation, right? Now this is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 66. As for Judas Maccabeus, he hath been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. Right, so you got Judas Maccabeus on the scene after Mattathias. Right. Let's see what he did. Let's see what he was known for. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2. It's like 3. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3. And 1. And his son, it's like then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. So did all they that held with his father. They fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. So he got his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him, and he made battles, protecting the host with his sword. In his axe he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey. So they said this man was like a lion out there. Just a big, ferocious one of them. I'm gonna get that. They call it, a certain type of lion. They're called. We're not talking about them little kittens. Right? We're not talking about the little kittens and damn your zoo. Talking about these Barbary lions, right? Right. Or Barbary, right? Yeah, look at the man, man. Smite, man. That remind me of Jake a little bit. I look like Jake a little bit, don't it? Right? Anyways, right? See that? Yeah, man. So it's like a lion out there is slaying them, putting them to flight, right? Walking the ways of his forefathers, man. Said he was like a lion out there, right? Verse 5, for he pursued Slakia. Verse 5, for he pursued the wicked and sought them out and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand. He grieved also many kings and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial was blessed forever. Right, so Judah Maccabees, right, is on a mighty level. Now let's go to Second Maccabees. Let's go to Second Maccabees, chapter 10. Look, Second Maccabees, chapter 10, start at 29. And when the battle waxed strong, then appeared unto the enemies from heaven 5 comely men upon horses with bridles of gold, and 2 of them led the Jews and took Maccabeus betwixt them and covered him on every side with their weapons and kept him safe, right? But shot arrows and lightnings against the enemies, so that being confounded with blindness and full of trouble, they were killed. So the Most High is protecting his mighty men. You got angels coming down fighting with Judah Maccabees, right? They got damn bows shooting out damn lightnings and damn fire, and you know what I mean, protecting Judah Maccabees, man. Just appearing out of nowhere, man. And that's the Lord, right? Because the Lord said in Psalms 91, let's get the book of Psalms, right? Chapter 91. This book of Psalms, chapter 91. This book of Psalms, chapter 91. And I'm gonna start at this whole thing fire. All right, it's the book of Psalms, chapter 91, and verse 5. Thou shalt not be of I mean, I kind of get the context. Verse 1. Psalms 91 and 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Right, I start at verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. I mean, they don't get put to flight. Because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh on thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. So the angels are going to have charge over you, man. Right? It's like it under you, right? They follow you, they protect you. Verse 12. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone, right? Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under the feet, right? And that happened during Samson time. Samson slew broke a jawbone of a lion, man, and the honey came up, right? So let's go back to Second Maccabees, chapter 10. It's like it, not 10. Second Maccabees 11. It's the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 11. Verse 8. And as they were at Jerusalem, there appeared before them on horseback one in white clothing, shaking his armor of gold. So it just appeared, man. A man on a horse in white clothing, right? Kind of shaking his arm, man, getting ready for war. Then they praised the merciful God altogether and took heart insomuch that they were ready not only to fight with men, but with most cruel beasts and to pierce through walls of iron. Now we know iron is the strongest natural metal, right? Iron. Right? So they was ready to fight with cruel beasts, man. They was ready to fight with cruel beasts and to pierce through walls of iron. They had that zeal, man. They was ready to go to war, man. Verse 10. Thus they marched forward in their armor, having a helper from heaven, for the Lord was merciful unto them. Right, and that angel was there. Verse 11. And given a charge unto their enemies like lions, they slew even 11,000 footmen, 1,600 horsemen, and put all the other to flight. Many of them also being wounded escaped naked, and Lysis made himself fled away shamefully and so escaped. Right? So he knocking them, he putting them to flight, man. He putting them to death, right? And it's so much more, man. Let's get 12. Let's look at Second Maccabees chapter 12 and verse 22. But when Judas, his first band, came in sight, the enemies being smitten with fear and terror through the appearing of him that seeth all things. Who was that? Right. Fled amain, one running this way, another that way, so as they were often hurt of their own men and wounded with points of their own swords, man. They was running, falling on these swords, tripling, trampling, flipping, right? Judas also was very earnest at pursuing them, killing those wicked wretches, of whom he slew about 30,000 men, right? 30,000 men put to flight, scared, seeing angels, dark-skinned angels with beards and swords and bows, right? Sitting on chariots and things of that sort. So Judas was mighty, man, right? Let's read about Simon. A couple more, I'm going to close out. This book of First Maccabees, chapter 11. Book of First Maccabees, chapter 11, and verse 44. Upon this, Jonathan sent him 3,000 strong men unto Antioch. When they came to the king was very glad of their coming. Right, he was happy he came to help them. Right, he had to come save, man. He had to come help some nations sometimes, man. Verse 45. Howbeit, they that were of the city gathered themselves together in the midst of the city to number 100,000, it's like 120,000 men, and would have slayed the king. Right, so 3,000 men, right, slew 120,000 men. Verse 46. Wherefore the king fled into the court, but they of the city kept the passage of the city and began to fight. Then the king called to the Jews for help, who came unto him all at once, and dispersing themselves through the city, slew that day in the city to the number of 100,000. 100,000, right? 100,000 men put to flight by 3,000. Verse 48. Also they set on fire the city and got many spoils that day and delivered the king. So whence, like, and that's on that, man. So Jonathan had mighty men under him that could slay 100,000 men with 3,000, man. Now let's get to the mighty men. Let's get to one of the mighty men. Let's go into, let's get the name. All right, let's get to First Maccabees 2 again. Their assignment just passed, man. What did Simon do? It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2. Let's start. 2 and 3. Simon called Thassi, right? That's the 5 sons of Mattathias, right? Simon is one of them, right? Called Thassi. Now, what does Thassi mean? Or Thasai? Kind of want to see. I kind of want to see how they pronounce it. Yeah, let's get the pronunciation of this.
Fast.
No, I'm not asking for just stats, man. But it's that all right? Or a thigh, one or the other. And what does that mean? Right? Simon called that side, right? The side has a connotation of the wise, a title which can also mean the director, the guide, the man of counsel, and the zealous. This Simon is also sometimes distinguished as Simon Hasmonean, Simon Maccabees, or from Latin, Simon Maccabeus. What does it mean sometimes? That's what I was talking about, man. So you had a black man that was called Simon the Wise. Now we know Simon just means Simeon. Go back to the Hebrew word for Simeon, right? Shamawan, right? Meaning herd, right? So this is Simon the Wise, man. Or Simeon the Wise is his name. Now, what did the Lord tell us about him, man? And what did he do? Share that. Let's go down. Let's go down to verse 65. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 65. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you. Now, I don't think you understand how deep and mighty and upright and on fire you got to be, right? For your father to tell your son, right, your brother, hey, this man, always listen to him, always hear him. He is a father unto you, man. That's deep. We know Simon had to been on a high level, man. He was a man of counsel, great at giving advice, right? Probably planning things and strategic. He had Judas Maccabeus, right? Mighty and strong, putting in the flight good in war. Man, you got Jonathan, man, Eleazar, right? Almighty priest cutting down wickedness in wicked nations and wicked Negroes too. So let's go to First Maccabees 13. Now I want to go down. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 33. And as Simon built up the strongholds in Judea and fenced them about with high towers and great walls and gates and barns and laid up victuals therein. So he made Judea stronger. Right, I want to get this real quick. I want to get this map. Okay, image. I had a better map. Yeah, that's what I look for right here. I want that map. I don't really want this one, but we can deal with it. All right, there's another map that was fired. Well, under Simon is this, this lighter red shade. Right. So around this, right. So he made this fence, right, and built this up. Right. Like I said, the other image is a little bit better. Right. Nevertheless, right? He built the strongholds. Verse 34. Moreover, Simon chose men and sent to King Demetrius to the end he should give the land the immunity, because all that Tryphon did was unto spoil. Right? So he freed us from getting these taxes under the Greeks. I'm gonna go down to verse 43. So I'm at verse 42. Verse 41. Thus the yoke of the heathen was taken away from Israel in the 170th year. Then the people of Israel began to write in their instruments and contracts in the first year of Simon the high priest, the governor and leader of the Jews. In those days, Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about. He made also an engine of war and set it by the city and battered a certain tower and took it. And that tower is going into the Tower of David, the citadel. And they that were in the engine leapt into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city, insomuch as the people of the city rent their clothes and climbed upon the walls with their wives and children, and cried with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace. And they said, deal not with us according to our wickedness, right, but according to thy mercy. So Simon was appeased towards them and fought no more against them, but put them out of the city and cleansed the houses wherein the idols were, and so entered into it with songs and thanksgiving. Yea, he put all uncleanness out of it and placed such men there as would keep the law, and made it stronger than it was before, and built therein a dwelling place for himself. They also of the tower in Jerusalem were kept so straight that they could neither come forth nor go into the country, nor buy, nor sell, wherefore they were in great distress for the want of victuals, right, meaning lack, and a great number of them perished through famine. Then cried they to Simon, beseeching him to be at one with them, which thing he granted them when he had put them out from thence. He cleansed the tower from pollutions, right? He cleansed the tower in the place in the Tower of David from pollutions and all these idolatrous and wicked, filthy, vile things in the tower, man. And enter into it's like into it the 3 and 20th day of the second month, in the 170 and 1 year, with thanksgiving and branches of palm trees, and with harps and cymbals, and with vows and hymns and songs, because there was destroyed a great enemy out of Israel. Right? So they destroyed a great enemy. He cleansed the tower. We got free from paying the taxes. Right? 52. He ordained also that that day should be kept every year with gladness. Moreover, the hill of the temple was by the tower he made stronger than it was, and he dwelt there himself with his company. And when Simon saw that John his son was a valiant man, he made him captain of all the hosts and dwelt in Gazara. Right. So Simon cleansed the temple, man. He cleansed the temple. We got free from taxes, right? Destroyed a great enemy, right? Now ruling as the counselor, man. So, we look at our forefathers and we see the mighty things they did, and we know we can do that, right? So I'm gonna close out with this last precept. It's the book of First Maccabees, right? Chapter 9. I mean, I might as well get 13 verse, because he said it. Then I'm gonna get 9 afterward. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, in verse 3. And gave them exhortation, saying, ye yourselves know what great things I and my brethren and my fathers have done for the laws and the sanctuary, the battles also, and the troubles which we have seen, by reason whereof all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone. Now therefore be it far from me that I should spare my own life at any time of trouble, for I am no better than my brethren. Doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary and our wives and our children, for all the heathen are gathered to destroy us of this very malice. Now, as soon as the people heard these words, their spirit revived, man. So look at this, man. Look at the exhortation he gave. He said, doubtless I'm going to avenge my nation and the sanctuary and everybody in Israel, and stand on these commandments, man. Right? So make this last precept. First Maccabees chapter 9. Let's see what Judah said. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 9, and verse 10. Then Judah said, God forbid that I should do this thing and flee away from them. If our time be come, let us die manfully for our brethren, and let us not stain our honor. So, Lord willing, Israel don't get their honor stained, get scared or frightened. We get in Jacob's trouble when we deal with these different nations to go to war. Or we have to move in the spirit of our forefathers that we just read about and just saw about. You understand? So, Lord willing, Abaratazah, all Israel got edified, right? And we see our forefathers and what they did. When it bid Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Kwam Yashala, Shalom.